Welcome, and today we're going to learn how to make pasta, and first we'll start out making pasta dough. You only need 2 ingredients, real simple: 3 eggs and 2 cups of flour. This is the traditional way that pasta is made, and been made for centuries. We want the eggs to be at room temperature, so we're going to let these warm up a little bit more. They're still a little cold. It's important for making the consistency of the dough so it's pliable, and that's the secret to making good pasta. Once you get the dough in good shape, you'll be rolling in the dough, and it'll be real easy. So that's what we're going to do for now. Let this set, and then we'll start making the pasta dough. Okay, now we are going to get our 2 cups of flour ready. And so we just take those, and I like to do that to make a nice even cup. And then we will sift it onto the cutting board. And I did wash it and dry it while it was, while we were in the break there. I had to wash it up after I put those eggs on there. And that's 1 cup. And then the second cup we will get. Here we go. Okay, let's see if we get enough in there. Yeah, that should do. And you're going to sift another. Sift another cup and make it a big mound there, and all sifted flour. Okay. For our next, we will, like we did in the high school project, we'll make a little volcano. And so we're going to make a little circle in the center there, where we're going to start. And I'm going to need a fork to work it in. And these are the beaten eggs. And we're going to slowly...
And you incorporate it as you go.
Slowly incorporate it.
Okay, so I'm going to just show just one way of doing it, and Winston was showing another. And I just want to impress on you, when you're doing this, it's just a real slow process of stirring the eggs in to the volcano and incorporating as you go along. This is it feels like it's time consuming, but it's actually helping you to incorporate the flour into the center so it doesn't go dripping off like a lava flow. So just stirring it in, continue to incorporate. Now I know we talked about that there are 3 eggs in this. And that's true. Sometimes it is dependent on the size of the eggs. If they're really large eggs, then you might only need 2. In this case, you start out with the idea of 3. So let's just keep going and keep incorporating. Can you see that the volcano hole is getting bigger, but I'm incorporating more and more of the flour into the center. Okay, I've incorporated a lot of the egg yolk and the liquid, so now I'm going to try to incorporate it more by getting it into a round ball. Set it aside a little bit. Sometimes it seems like there's more flour than you need, but keep it to the side and we'll just move through it.
Okay.
Okay, so now I think that it's gotten to almost the glossy feel, and I want you to feel what that's like, and so that you get a sense of the texture and what it feels like, and
really nice and smooth. Yeah, great job.
So that's what we're aiming for, and then before we let it rest.
I think that's great. Better than I do. We brought in the professional and took out the amateur. So
That's
make
what
sure.
we're doing. We're working together.
Exactly. So I think we got it, huh?
Okay.
Okay, so now this part is we're going to take the dough and I'm going to let it rest, and then we're going to cover it with a towel and let that set for an hour, and then we'll be back, to start cranking out some pasta with the pasta machine. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to take pasta dough. It's had a nice little nap. It's been resting, and we are going to take it out of the bowl. Okay, and we're just going to knead it a couple times because we need to, and then it looks good. Just a little bit more. I think it feels pretty good. Okay, so at this point, what we do is I like to use this pasta cutter. Pastry cutter. And we'll just cut this into fours. So I'm going to quarter it. And we'll put 3 of these back in the bowl. And we'll cover it. Okay, now it's time to make the pasta and roll it out. We're actually using this machine. It's just a manual crank machine, and first we'll just crank the pasta through and make the flat pasta. And once we've got all of that cranked flat and hung, just for storage, and then we'll put on the cutter, and we can choose the fettuccine or linguine size cutters on this. So we're going to use all of that, and it's just a manual little machine like that. Okay, so let's get to it. This is the fun part, when it works. So we want to start with the pasta machine at the widest. See, this little knobs and settings on the thickness, but you want to start on the widest part. And we're going to crank it through here. And we keep folding it. This pasta dough is working very nicely here. We're going to do this about 4 or 5 times just to get the pasta dough working. Okay, if you find that the pasta is a little sticky, a little too moist, seems kind of moist, we'll put a little flour on it, and then we'll just run it through the flour, and that really helps a whole lot when you do the pasta. So we've got it on the large size. We're going to do it one more time in half. Some people do in thirds. This works pretty good on this size dough. And now that we've done it several times that way, we are going to start running it down to make it thinner. And then we're just going to keep cranking it out, reducing the size on every turn. And we just keep doing that. Okay, we're back. We've rolled out the pasta. Some of it's longer than others, so you do it to taste. Also, some of the balls, as we cut them, they weren't all the same size. Some were a little large, so we cut them in half. So, at this point, we actually make the fettuccine. So what we've done is we've added the fettuccine cutter onto this. And what we're going to do at this point is just run it through the cutter, just like we did the other earlier, and we feed it in, and it will just cut the pasta. So we're going to go that way with it. And once we get it, the feed starting, it will be wonderful. Here we go. With my beautiful assistant. Okay. And then we just hang that up on the rack. Perfect. And we'll do one more just for
grins.
Just for grins. Okay, we'll start this long one. For those who like long pasta. So get that fed in there. And we're just cutting it into fettuccine noodles. I gotta get my hand up here. I'm gonna get some little ones at the end, little pieces, but decide which ones you want to add to the pot. So that's the process of cutting the fettuccine. We'll finish up doing the rest of these. And then one last thing, when you actually go to make the pasta, it's only 2 to 3 minutes, tops. Fresh pasta doesn't cook 5, 10, 15 minutes. You put it in for a couple of minutes, it's perfect. And just keep tasting it, testing it. Somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes, it should be perfect. And you don't have to wait for this to dry, to get hard. You could, if we were ready now, we could just throw it in the pot, but we'll leave it here. Tonight we're making a special dish, and we'll just throw this into the pasta water and cook it for a couple of minutes as part of the meal. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed making pasta with Carole and Winston.